Hello. Today we got ourselves a weird one. We're going to be talking about how to do warm outreach. Brought to you by the famous expert on warm outreach, me. Okay, so basically I'm going to just rehash what Hermosa is telling people to do. The idea is that you have some contact lists and stuff. And probably in each of the communities where you're hanging out, there's like at least a couple dozen people you interacted throughout your lifetime, and it adds up very easily. Let's say that you have email, right? Probably this is 100 people here. I don't know, Facebook, LinkedIn. Probably like around the same number you have interacted with, right? Maybe if it's like GitHub, it can get a bit weirder because maybe it's like you have interacted in a professional way with many people, but maybe there's very few people with whom you interacted on personal level, right? And warm outreach is all about the personal level. At least warm outreach when you go like door to door, person to person, yeah. So in the big picture, you have a goal of getting a lead out of it, activated lead, not the just person you can talk to, which is Hermosa's definition of a lead, which is good enough for our purposes, right? We're not trying to think hard or come up with our creative stuff. We're just basically explaining one particular methodology that works. But activated lead is a lead that already said yes to something that you have asked them, like for example to have a chat with you, or showed the interest in the domain in which you're working, right? We also want those activated leads, so we want activated and qualified leads as the output of some process, right? And obviously, when we're talking about your ideal customer profile, whether you found it or not, but probably you didn't. That's the spoiler alert, yeah. That if you are in my situation when you are unclear, where to pivot, when you didn't prove your product market fit, that probably you can't call your customer profile ideal. So let's say you have some customer profile. There will be like very few, maybe 0, maybe 2, maybe 10, maybe 5. In our example, there will be a tiny fraction of people with whom you have contacts that fall under your customer profile. If this number is huge, then you are very lucky. But for B2B stuff, obviously it's going to be almost 0. So while we can get activated leads by just talking to people, we will not get activated qualified leads by just talking to people, because the odds of getting through to to this fractional amounts of people is, these odds are negligible. So further working backwards, so this is our goal. So what is our task? Our task is to get a referral to a qualified lead, and then hope that this referral from a person we know will be enough to activate it. Well, hope or act, but this is the idea, yeah. To do that, we need to ask a question. So to do that, we need to ask a question: does anyone who would benefit from solution to problem, to, I would even be to be correct here, I would say to the problem, come to mind, right? This is the only, so this is the terminus of our outreach. This is where this box stops, or this is where this personal box stops. Well, obviously you want to follow up. Can you introduce me? And this is implied, but just for clarity, I will explicitly mention it here. Right. So, and the idea here is that we want to activate by introduction. Yeah, activate the lead by introduction. So, so how do we get to asking this question? When, again, working backwards from our goal, we need to explain the solution, which is the second last step. This is very important because, as we know, no one cares about solutions. Everyone cares about problems, or not even about problems, but about addressing their problems, right? So this is the second to last step. And when we say explain, we obviously mean without technical details, using marketing. Yeah, using marketing. Not almost never. Technically, and because obviously there are counter examples when you're talking to like a fellow nerd or something like this. Let me hide myself. Yeah, almost never technically. And before we get to explain the solution, we need to explain the impact, right? Because again, this is what I said. Sure, you can explain the problem, but if there is no impact, there is no need for change. Yeah. So I don't know. In case of zero HR, the impact is like failure to delivery, of timely delivery. You don't deliver timely. You can have a snowball effect. You fuck up your releases. You have to divert resources. You lose money just in salary on developers who have to work extra. And you lose out. It has opportunity cost because you lose out on time where you could have your system integration done, system launched, blah blah blah. That presumably you have an IT department for something. Yeah. So if they fail to deliver in a timely manner, you lose money in opportunity cost and you lose money in salary. And also, like, if you're doing the right thing, then you will have postmortems. It's not necessarily money lost because you're saving yourself from situations like this coming up again. But postmortems aren't free also, right? And then before you can explain the impact, you have to explain the problem. Or even explain is bad here, yes. And explain may be even bad for impact, but confirm the problem. Right. And by the way, an important note here is that a person doesn't have to be a nerd to understand the impact of failed project delivery. Right? You can literally explain to a child that when you go to a shop to buy tomatoes, if there was a tomato delivery failure, then you will not give the shop the money, so the shop will not get the money from you now, because their tomatoes will arrive in an hour, right? So you have to always check that you can talk to anyone, right? And obviously, the degree of sophistication will change depending on who you're talking about, right? But here with confirming the problem, it's the same. You may ask, like, how the fuck will a baker in my bakery know if IT companies have problems with software delivery that they need to procure, or integrations that they need to perform? Well, the answer to this is that if this baker has a customer who has like bags under their eyes and who's complaining about how everyone at work is stupid and how they're pushing unrealistic deadlines, well, this is a bell that calls us to the tasty feast, which is not limited with bread. So we can confirm the problem from a lay person as well. And then the first thing is like the hardest one. Just be normal. Just be normal. So this is the absolute. This is like the hardest. I left the hardest bit for the last. To start having a conversation with a baker about whether or not they know nerds who act a bit stressed when they come to buy bread. You first need for the baker to want to talk to you. So just be normal. And yeah, that's about it. That's how you do warm outreach, and you just do it like you replicate it. You do it like a fucking sociopath. Yeah, that's the strategy. Just forget that you are perceived, and everything will be all right.